What's up, everybody? We're out here, we're going live again. We're gonna paint. We're here at the mill, market at the mill, Pickett, South Carolina. We got the studio open for business, and I'm working on a Jaws 50th anniversary upcycled painting. Have a lit, check it out. It's a good time. So I've gone ahead and done some medium values, paint, layers. I have the hand down here. If you remember the name of the first victim in the movie, let me know. We can honor her accordingly. Alex Kidner, Pivot Stick, Bruce the Shark, and of course the orca here in the background. So, having done the midtones, now we're going to jump into some shadows, a little bit of outlines, although the painting itself doesn't exactly afford for outlines, but some might be needed here or there. Just pouring out some black into the palette here. These new brushes, they have a really good point on them, so I'm just going to use that to add a little bit of outline, what we'll call maybe a very dark shadow. Maybe I'll add some of this blue to it so it's not stark black. We reserve that for the very last moments of a painting, but we won't squeeze out very much. So how y'all doing on Friday? I'm enjoying mine. I hope that you're enjoying yours. We're out here at the market at the mill, having a good day. So do some line work here under the surf line. The outline of the raft. Now we want to add the serrated bite mark of the shark. Most of all, we want that to be the most eye-catching piece. It's an outline here on the forward edge of the fin, and a little bit cutting through the surf, but not too much of a shadow. And then maybe here, I think I see the tip of his tail kind of cresting the water, circles on this wave. And then back here, we'll do a little bit of a portal, a window on the boat, the trim of the deck maybe, but not much. And then here, some surface. Pivot stick. Knock that back a little bit. And then down here, just nice dark value around these fingers. That's doing its thing. I mean, we're just adding subtle details, little by little, to try and pop elements from the background into the foreground. We'll do some little stabs and shadows beneath some of the floating elements here. That looks pretty good. It's kind of dark, but I'm feeling it. Now, what did I say earlier in the stream? We're going to add a few hits of extra color to relate what we're adding to the painting to what was in the painting originally. So I'm just going to cheat it. I'm just going to throw some of my own brush strokes in on top of what was already here. And to the naked eye, we'll create a relationship, which is what we want. We want the art to stand out as part of the painting and not look totally 100% added to it. And that happens in creating just a lot of different layers. And I encourage you all, like, if you have even just moderate skill level, but you have a desire to create paintings, take this approach. So you can see, like, here's a Halloween 3 piece that I did where I painted some elements from the John Carpenter film over top of these 3 young ladies. This fine edition of Post Malone over top of the steamship scene, recreating the congratulations video. So, hey, how you doing today? At a certain point, it's relieving because you don't necessarily have to paint the entire work. You're just adding some element to it and throwing some creativity on something that otherwise was going to be discarded, which breaks my heart, right? It's terrible.
Where we came in.
So now the shark's looking good, the boat's looking good. We have this hand down here. That's probably going to require the most work. But luckily we have a very, very good flesh tone to start with. And at first we're going to paint a beautiful hand, and then we're going to make it look like a dead person's hand. And that's the fun of doing what we do. So I'm going to take this neutral flesh tone and I'm going to add some blue and black to it to zombify it a little bit. Create sort of a grayed out, necrotic flesh tone. That's pretty dark, so we'll go ahead and we'll get some more of that flesh and I'll bring it over here. We'll create a base value. And we're just going to run with it. I'll have a highlight here. That's looking real good. You have to be very careful when you're mixing with black because it can take over the entirety of the form so easily. But let's get these fingers kind of drawn out. Finally, we'll add some fingernail detail, some knuckles. That's looking pretty good. Then we have our crab friends down there at the bottom. They need some love. Add a little bit of red. Got some terracotta down there. Some Tuscan red. Let's bring them crabs to life a little bit. y'all definitely have to pardon the noise. So we have some fans running here at the mill to keep things cool. And I know it can interfere with the audio a little bit, so I apologize in advance. But the show must go on, you know what I mean? So now we're gonna add some green to this like kelpy seaweed patch going down here. Lots of seaweed happening. Not bad, not bad. So this is our Jaws 50th anniversary. What's up, Roblox time? Hey, how's it going? Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks, YNS. Toxie Guy, I am 50 years old, so pushing the envelope, but still trying to remain cool and relevant. But I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm a grandpa, you know? I've been doing this a minute, so I hope you mean that respectfully, but it's nice to meet you either way. So right now I'm just adding some kind of kelp and seaweed down here by this partially denuded hand that shook so many of us in the original film when Richard Dreyfuss had kind of this medical tub with the severed arm of this girl who was swimming at the wrong place in the wrong time. Our entry to the horrific world of Jaws. So we've added some elements. We have the Alex Kidner, the raft. We have the shark here shown in silhouette. We have the orca out there on the horizon, also in silhouette. And then we have this severed hand down here, really bringing the rawness, bringing the horror, and I'm here for it. So now I have my favorite white of all time, and it's tragically low, and I have to kind of coax some out into the palette somehow. I probably should have started this a while ago, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. I have a smaller one. It's not the exact same formula, but it's pretty good. Let's see what we can get out of this one. All right, I think we're in business. We got some white. I'm gonna add some white to my fleshy, cadaverous color over here and start doing some highlights. So I want to create some highlights around the fingernails on the severed hand. And since it's been more or less in water, those are going to be gray. We'll go back in with some whites, but at the moment, we're dealing in that. And there's some other opportunities for some rough highlights, I would say. We'll add some white into the surf, which I think is needing it now that I've added a lot of blood. So we'll kind of just decal that in to these waveforms back here. Start to push and pull kind of at the same time, maybe with some wet highlights on the raft itself. Like here between some of the tooth serrations, maybe. Pop those out. Here on the leading edge. Pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. Get a little sun kiss here on the deck of the boat. And then here on the trailing edge of the shark's fin. He's going to be cutting a wake. So we definitely have to add that back in here on the surf itself. His tail will also be cutting a wake. Looks pretty good, guys. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Get some surface in the water. Go into some highlights on the hand as well here. So, accent. That's pretty great. We'll have to add some highlights to the crabs as well. We want them to feel the love, right? So you get some little top of the carapace. And we'll get some highlights on the top of the claws. And then the idea, of course, we're setting out to accomplish is to make this painting look similar to the painting itself. So we want to keep the integrity of those brush strokes all together. And you gotta love a painting that lets brushstrokes be brushstrokes. So at this point, I'm gonna just add a quick signature over here to the corner because I have wet paint in my palette, and I like to make my signatures out of the same paints that I'm adding to the painting with. So we'll just get it kind of lumped in there. We'll go back in for some shadows. I approach these things in layers, 2 or 3, at a time. And I just find that it adds to the overall weight, I guess you could say, the weight of the painting. I'm really feeling this one, guys. Let me go in and just do some outlines here. So generally, I usually do my final details in Posca marker on top of the underpainting. So maybe we'll go live. I'll have to bring those into the studio with me tomorrow. But that would be a fun one to do. We can really wrap it up, at that point. So I guess that's about it on this one. But just take you guys on a little tour while I have you. So here at Afterlife Studios, we breathe life into works of art, apparel, plush toys, pretty much anything that we can find and add our own artistic vibe to. So you'll see I have an entire wall and then some of artwork. And this is what we do. So Afterlife Studios, it's all about bringing life again to things that were otherwise headed for the landfill, and we are not about that. So paintings, clothing, collectibles, all kinds of things. You can see we have an entire black rack of upcycled clothing guarded by our dear friends, the Grimm. I have my painting station. We have paintings and prints of all shapes and sizes. Our good friend, the werewolf, keeps us safe. And then down here at the end of the hall, we have the trash thrash rack, which everything on this rack is $5. And if you buy 4, you get 1 free. Completely upcycled in design and in purpose. And then over here we have an entire curated rack of vintage clothes. So no matter what floats your boat, I encourage you to come on in. We can hang out, we can talk shop, we can talk art, and you guys can have a look at what we do. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.